that's full of cheer. Hey, 2023. It's not till tomorrow, but happy New Year to you all from Squeeze the Juice. Welcome back for another episode. The last one of the year. Last one of the year. Big games. Slots on the line. Evan, how we doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great this afternoon. Look, it is the end of 2022 as we know it. What a year it's been. Crazy year of sports, but the show goes on. 2023, we're not slowing down anytime soon. And we have quite the slate on New Year's Eve and on New Year's Day.
Literally.
So we are going to have a ton of fun with football this weekend. How do you want to start it off, man?
Unfortunately, as per usual, we have to start with a recap of last week.
Yeah, so I'm just going to turn away because these records are ugly. Last week was probably our worst week on the pod.
Yes.
Doing these picks for you guys. Look, I was 2-5 last week. Justin was 2-4. It was ugly. It was ugly. We're just going to call a spade, all right? It was bad. It was bad. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to sweeten and butter it up. It was a bad performance from us last week. So now my college record is 21-16. Justin's is still 15-20. His hasn't changed in weeks. It'll change this week, though. And then my NFL record now sits at 29-26-2. Justin's is 28-26-2. Overall, I'm at 50-42-2. Still +8. Still holding strong. Justin is 43-46-2. Brutal week.
Brutal.
For me, I gave you guys BGSU. Posted it on Twitter. Tough L. They lost their starting quarterback, McDonald, after a late hit out of bounds. I believe he got concussed and was out of the game. From there on, just wasn't enough. They got it close in the fourth quarter, but ended up losing 24-19. Just wasn't enough for the Falcons, unfortunately. East Carolina, though, Justin did not make this pick, but he was, floated out there. They had a very big win over Coastal Carolina. I believe they won 53-29. It was
Correct,
a blowout.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even without Coastal Carolina starting QB, you think they'd have someone else in the back, ready to take over, especially after all the transfer portal talk, because their starter did enter the portal,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I was expecting more from Coastal Carolina. But, I mean, you lose your starting quarterback, you lose your head coach.
That's a lot to overcome.
Yeah.
Probably should have put that on Twitter and played it, but you know what? Whatever.
It's all right. I'm being safe right now.
C'est la vie. C'est la vie.
Yes.
All right, so on to the NFL.
That's Italian.
On to the NFL. First game up that we had last week was Lions and the Panthers. I was very skeptical of this game.
Ugh.
I previewed it. Everything to me internally felt like go Carolina, and I went against my better judgment because we're fans before. Sometimes you're a fan before you make a pick, and my fandom got up to me, and I should have picked the Panthers. I felt like it was a Panther spot, and I blindly took the Lions, and they got crushed. They got totally out-physicaled. It was an embarrassing loss for the Lions, 37-23. We were both on the Detroit side, and it was just bad. It was bad, but
it was sad to see, but I think it's more so that it's not the Lions needed to be humbled, but they kind of needed a very subtle reality check. You guys have been rolling. Don't underestimate this team. I know it was in the cold. Jared Goff plays bad away and in the cold. There was just a lot of things not in place, but kind of be more prepared. I feel like there's a little, there's they had the mentality, but the preparation maybe a little less in certain terms.
It just felt like Carolina wanted it more from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Their offensive line and defensive line, they were pushing the offense and defensive line of the Lions all day long. And I thought Goff played all right, but you had the one turnover in the red zone that was costly. From there on out, Carolina was able to just ground and pound. And look, the Lions' run game lately has been really good. I mean, give them credit. I believe I heard Dan Miller on the radio say in the past 2 games, which was the Jets and then the Vikings.
I think it was Jets and Vikings, yeah.
It was 78 total rushing yards combined in those 2 games. And then on the first drive, the Panthers had 80 yards rushing. And it's okay, guys, what are we doing here? And you're right. I don't think they were mentally ready. It seemed like they prepared all week long just to get embarrassed. It was one of those games. Hopefully, you're right. Maybe it's a reality check, a punch in the mouth. We'll see what happens this week against Chicago and then the following week against Green Bay. But It's a tough loss and a brutal blow to their playoff chances because had they won, they would have been right into that 7th spot with a chance to clinch a playoff spot this weekend. Unfortunately, now you got to win out and get some luck. All right. Game 2 of our slate was Bengals at Patriots. Nick Folk missing 3 extra points and a Ramondre Stevenson fumble when his forward progress was clearly stopped. Cost the Patriots and my chance at a cover. Bengals won by 4. We were on Patriots, or I was on Patriots plus 3.5. Justin was on Bengals minus 3.5. That was the luckiest
Joe
cover
Burr
I've ever
survives.
seen. 3 missed extra points from Nick Folk, who's been automatic all year long, and then a just blatant no call of the whistle. Ramondre was stopped for 10 minutes and they don't call the whistle. Whatever. I'm done talking about that game. It's been a horrible year for the Patriots. Week after week, something new happens.
It's true.
I'm done. All right. Eagles at Cowboys. What a game that was. Cowboys winning 40-34. We were both in the Cowboys. We got that late Miles Sanders fumble and the field goal to push it to 6. We were on Cowboys minus 4.5. Gardner Minshew played well, but some mistakes.
He played a lot better than I thought he was going to play.
He did, but some mistakes, and that Eagles defense just squandering way too many points to Dallas there. Just a concerning loss, I think, for Philly defensively. When you look at it, like, whoa, we got to look at ourselves in the mirror. That's not good enough. If we want to win the Super Bowl, if we want to get there, that's not good enough. So we were on Cowboys. I did not think it was going to get to 74 total points, but it did. And I'm happy it did because, quite frankly, we needed a win. All right, the Saturday nightcap, the Christmas Eve nightcap was Raiders at Steelers. Steelers, what a clutch drive by Kenny P.
Man.
13-10 victory over the Raiders. I was on Steelers minus 2.5. Justin was on Raiders plus 2.5. Shout out Kenny Pickett, George Pickens. What a game that was.
They're good.
I mean, it was a very ugly defensive battle. That's just classic Pittsburgh. And when they needed it most, Kenny Pickett delivers. I like what I'm seeing from the Steelers defensively lately. It's been very impressive, and it's been very positive.
They have the talent on that side of the ball.
They do.
And it's great to see, you got a young Najee in the backfield. If he can get a little back to like how he was before. And then you got Pickett, who you're trusting more, and he kind of proved himself there for a moment. And George Pickens has proven himself. They just have to get in the ball more. So you kind of got a guy on each.
And you got a great tight end in Pat Freiermuth. Shout out my boy
absolutely.
Muth, baby. I love Muth. They just need a new OC because Matt Canada,
Agreed.
you know how we got some Steelers friends or friend, and we discuss
You know
it all
who
the
you
time.
are.
We discuss it all the time. I think Matt Canada's out as OC in Pittsburgh, and if they get someone that actually has some creativity and some genius offensively, that could be a very fun team to watch next year. They still have a shot at the playoffs. It's a very, very low chance, but they're in the mix still. So we'll see how that goes down.
Are they guaranteed a losing season right now?
I believe they're 7-8.
Wow. Could you imagine they win their last 2 and Mike Tomlin keeps his... Or he has to win 1 then. Oh, no, wait. No, he has to win 2.
Yeah, he'd have to win.
He had to win 2
Yeah.
because you can't be 500. You can't end 500 anymore.
No.
So he needs to win the last 2 to keep that streak alive and never have a losing season.
Right, and they got the Ravens and the Browns. So it's possible, but that's 2.
Are they both on the road or home?
They're at Baltimore this weekend, this Sunday night, and then they are home against the Browns on January 8th.
I
So
think they lose to the Ravens and beat the Browns.
I don't know.
probably.
We'll see.
I mean,
Because
yeah, we
Lamar
don't know.
might be back this week. He might not be, and I don't know. We'll see. All right. Christmas Day now. Packers at Dolphins.
That
Packers
made me sick.
26-20 over the Finns. We were both on Dolphins minus 3.5, and we got robbed of that game because Tua Tagovailoa was concussed. We know it now. He was concussed for the entirety of the second half, and his performance clearly dropped.
3 interceptions.
And really, we were kind of, harping on Tua. He was concussed. That performance is now no longer on his actual ability to play. He was concussed. Like, he was not able to perform because there was a serious injury going on with his brain, and no one was able to diagnose it. Mike McDaniel saw it in film study after the game. How does that happen? After everything that Tua has been through this season and after all the protocol changes,
Not seeing
you would
anything?
think you'd be able to see something, and nothing was done. So that performance no longer on Tua like we thought it was. That is on the medical doctors that are on the field that are supposed to be spotting. That's bad. That's a bad look, and it keeps happening to Tua, which is super unfortunate. He's probably not going to play again this season. Dolphins lose mainly because of that. I'm not saying Teddy Bridgewater gets them the win, but look, if Tua was concussed and he's pulled out, I think a healthy Teddy Bridgewater probably gets something done as opposed to Tua, who just mentally and physically was not able to play.
Yeah, because you're talking. Teddy probably wouldn't have thrown 3 interceptions like that. It was literally like boom, boom.
No,
boom.
and all the interceptions were pretty bad too.
It was just like kind of lofted up.
It was lofted, and it was like, what are you seeing? And it's clear that there was something going on with him, and we know it now. It was the concussion. So it's unfortunate for Tua, and it's unfortunate for Miami, who now is looking as a very likely team that's going to miss out on the playoffs now after being 8-3 and looking like they were possibly going to win the AFC East. It's been just a complete collapse. They're now 8-7 with a game on the road at Foxborough. It's not looking good for Miami right now, and it looks even worse with Tua. I hope he gets healthy. I hope he gets right, and I hope that he just takes the rest of the season off and just kind of gets into a healthy space for him to play football again. But our last game, Broncos at Rams, what an embarrassing game for Russell Wilson. Nathaniel Hackett is out as head coach of Denver.
Good. About
Rams
time.
winning 51-14. I was shocked at this game. I thought Broncos were going to roll into L.A. and just kind of dominate.
L.A., man, I'm telling you, something, I don't care who's in L.A., something about most times, the Rams at home is something weird. Something weird.
But they don't have a home
I know.
crowd.
They don't have anything. But there's something weird about them being at home, man. I'm telling you. That's 3 times, I think, this season where it's just randomly worked out for them at home.
I just don't think you can take the Broncos. I think you need to stop taking the Broncos. If I'm allowed to take the Broncos, you're not allowed to take the Broncos. Okay.
So you tell me if I would have took the Rams, the Broncos would have won?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. So no, it was ugly. I mean, Russell, you blinked and it was 17-0. All right, so Russ was just completely out of it. I watched for fantasy purposes, but yeah, it was ugly. They had never had a chance. It was 17-0 before I even put down like the remote from switching the channel over to the game. I was like, what is going on? So that's it. 2-5 for me, 2-4 for you. Again, 50, 42, and 2 overall. That's my record. Justin is 43, 46, and 2. It was not a good week last week, though. 2-5, like I said, for me. 2-4 for Justin. We're on to week 12 here, episode 12. Let's make some picks, man. We got a big slate, and I'm so excited. College football is really back. Like, I mean, we know we got the bowl games, but now we get the enchilada now. We get the main course.
The big enchilada. The playoffs of 2023, college football. It was a crazy way it came to being, the Final Four here, with some losses, some questionable slide-ins, but it is set. There should still be some good games no matter what. I'm excited. So, as we head into the first game. Let's see. Game 1. TCU and Michigan. -7.5 as of now, Michigan. It's going to be a good one. I mean, obviously Michigan's favorited. I'm not surprised. They're realistically better on both sides of the ball. I mean, Max Duggan, though, is an absolute dog. That man, if anybody could be a heartbeat of a team, that man is it, literally, because of the heart surgery he had at the beginning of the season, 4 weeks before the season started. Dude lost the starting job, came back, carried them all the way, surprisingly became a Heisman finalist. And, I mean, TCU looks good, but when you have Big 12 versus Big 10, it's a different game. I'd read a stat supposedly that most times when the Big 10 and Big 12 play, the Big 10's like 0-3 or something, I think. Something like that. But I don't know how the Big 10 and Michigan don't win this game. I know it sucks not having Blake Corum, but we've seen what they can do without him. And McCarthy was talking the other day, I think it's TCU's playing like a 4-3-3 defense or something like that.
It's a 3-3-5.
A 3-3-5.
So, 3 down
so
line,
you're
3
talking
linebackers.
Michigan, who loves to run heavy, could just run all over them. He's like, if they maintain that, we're just going to ground and pound.
Right, because you have 5 guys in the secondary, 5 defensive backs. You got 3 linebackers, then you have 3 down linemen. So really, it's a weird, odd formation. It works for the Big 12, which is very pass-heavy and very up-tempo.
Yeah.
For a team like Michigan, who's ground and pound, extra offensive linemen, 2 tight ends, it's a bit of a clash there. And so sticking to that is a very large risk. So you're right. If TCU just sticks to what they've been doing all season long, 3-3-5, and then makes no adjustments, I don't see that as a successful formula for TCU.
I agree. I mean, the thing that is valuable, though, is if they do change it up, we know TCU is better with, secondary coverage, but we know now that Michigan can throw the ball, and they're not afraid to throw the ball. Like, it can be done because McCarthy doesn't make too many mistakes in the air, but we know that they can do it either way. So, like, Michigan's prepared on both ends. It's not like they have to run to win, like, solely. But, I mean, Michigan Donovan Edwards has been hitting those big plays after big plays, and that's what he loves to do. But we'll see. I don't think he might not have as many big plays as he has in the past 2 games, But I think it's still going to be a great game. And, I mean, I don't know how I don't take Michigan in this game. I mean, come on, man.
Well, for me, the last time we saw Michigan play against Purdue, I was not that impressed, honestly. Like, they still won by 3 scores.
I agree.
I just wasn't impressed. It felt like they got fortunate with Purdue not being able to capitalize in the red zone. Look, I think Michigan is a team that wears on you, though, and they make you play physical ball for 60 minutes, and they don't give up. Their offensive line is a non-negotiable. They push you around all game long, and it's a testament to the run game. They've been averaging 5.6 yards per carry on the ground, and look, they're the 5th-ranked rushing offense in the country for a reason. You don't have Blake Corum, it doesn't matter. Donovan Edwards slides in and looks great. TCU, on the other hand, they're 67th in rushing defense. They allow 4.1 yards per carry, which is pretty solid, but I mean, you're going to have this defense have the performance of a lifetime, especially if they're going to stick to the 3-3-5 that they've been running. You're going to have guys step up. Now, they did that against Texas. We know they got Bijan Robinson, the best running back in the country, 12 carries, 29 yards in that game. So that was a very good performance by TCU defensively. But they also had Quinn Ewers throw 5 interceptions.
That's true.
Do you need J.J. McCarthy to have a massive turnover game and
to win,
and Donovan Edwards to have a Bijan Robinson game for some? It's a lot to ask for, especially when Michigan's offensive line is the best in the country and they've been dominant all year long. And say what you want about J.J. McCarthy, but I think he's probably on the same level, if not better than Quinn Ewers, but he takes better care of the football. Overall, I think this is just a game where Michigan treats TCU like they did every other opponent they played all season long, and TCU is going to come in treating Michigan like this monolith, this titanic team, and that just plays into Michigan's favor. I think the moment's a little too big for TCU, too big for Sonny Dykes. I like Max Duggan. I mean, he's a warrior. I like Quentin Johnston. They got guys. Miller's a good running back too for them, but I'm way too confident in Michigan. I might be overconfident in Michigan in this game because I just look at it as a Spartan fan and I'm tipping my cap to Michigan. I've seen them way too many times this year look a little slow in the first half, but that offensive line keeps pushing you, and before long, you're out of gas and you have nothing left. And those guys are still fighting. They're still pushing you around.
And that's when they get the big breaks.
And that's when you get the big Donovan Edwards runs. That's when you've had the big Blake Corum runs. And look, TCU can load the box, but we've seen JJ now be able to make some plays with his arm, and
he's very mobile.
He can move around. And look, I think this is just a simple game for me. I like Michigan -7.5. And look, if you think TCU has any chance in this game, go ahead and take them. But I just don't see how you can confidently or even semi-confidently be like, this is TCU's path to win. I don't know what the formula is for TCU. It's Michigan making mistakes, Michigan not converting in the red zone, which has been an issue at times this year, and the ground game not running. That's 3 things. If all 3 of those things are in play, JJ mistakes, no run game, and red zone inefficiency, then of course TCU has a chance. But that's a lot to happen. And
So the team has to play bad entirely.
yeah, and Michigan's entire team has to play bad. It's just a lot to ask for. And I do think Michigan losing to Georgia last year helps them this year because it's a lot of the same guys, a lot of the same mindset, except now you're going in looking to win the national championship game instead of last year. I think they were just looking to win the Big Ten. I think they have a broader spectrum now of where they want to go and what their goals are. And if they win this game, they have a good shot in the national championship game. I do think they have a really good shot in the national championship game. But at the same time, I don't think they're overlooking this game. They're very serious. And yeah, Michigan minus 7.5. I think it's an easy pick. Public is not as heavy on Michigan as I thought they'd be.
Really?
I believe it's 58% per the Action Network. So it's not as heavy on Michigan as I thought it would be. But I'm riding with the Wolverines as much as it pains me to say it. And, you know, I'll be rooting for TCU, sure. I mean, like as a Spartan fan, I don't want to see Michigan win. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna give it to you how it is. Like I want to see Michigan lose. I love Michigan lost this game, but I call it how it is. And I'm not gonna come up here and be like, I told you Michigan was gonna lose. I'm taking Michigan to win comfortably here.
One thing I'm glad is out of the 4 teams in there, Ohio State's the only team I would be upset that they won it all. TCU's, I mean, obviously it's Michigan all day, and I don't think TCU can handle Georgia. So obviously it's more Michigan, Georgia, but yeah, as long as Ohio State doesn't win, I'm happy, but I know who I'm rooting for. But three big factors. McCarthy and Edwards together. How defiant of a dual threat will Duggan be? And second half adjustments. Michigan second half adjustments, whether they have them or not, they just change the game however it happens. Like you said, they keep pounding you down, and sometimes the long run is not, they don't even need to change, it's just the long run. But sometimes those second half adjustments they do have, it flips the script, and it's just nuts when it happens. Because you're like, oh man, it's like, oh, they're only up like 21, it's like 17-10 or 17-13, and then they just go on like a 30-point tear, and then it's over.
It's funny, these are 2 second half teams. I mean, TCU's made all those crazy comebacks, and they've had a lot of late second heroics. And Michigan's been second half, you're not doing anything. So it's like, how does that balance out? It's going to be interesting to see. I do think it just comes down to the basics, the fundamentals, which is the trenches. And Michigan is much, much more physical and dominant on the trenches and in the trenches. That's just what it comes down to for me. That's the name of the game. It's the line of scrimmage, who wins. It's going to be Michigan on both offense and defense. And that just is enough for me to pick them to win this game I think they'll win by 17 plus.
Wow. Yeah. I don't see, the thing is, it's like, not that the Big 12 is bad, but TCU is not going to have you're not going to get those comeback wins against Michigan.
No, Michigan won't let you.
No.
And you can try. But it just hasn't been done yet. So what?
Duggan might actually have to give his life for that.
He might. He'll be puking if they want to win this game. He's going to be vomiting at the end of it.
Literally.
Like that's what's gonna have to take.
Well, we're both on Michigan minus 7.5.
That's really not it's not a difficult game. It got a lot of, we obviously have to talk about it. It deserves this discussion, but we know what this is going to be.
Alrighty. On to the next. Game 2. Ohio State and Georgia. Georgia minus 6.5. Lower than the other one. They have a lot more confidence in Ohio State in this game. I don't know if I do.
Well, I do think Georgia got a bit of bad fortune drawing Ohio State. Because even though I don't believe in Ryan Day or C.J. Stroud, this is still an offense that is capable of scoring points and causing havoc, and they have mismatches and nightmares all over the field. Look, against Michigan, I think Ohio State tried to be something that they weren't. They got way too soft with play calling. Defensively, they were committed to stopping the run, overcommitted to stopping the run, I should say, and they did not just dare JJ to throw it. They basically ignored covering anyone. So, for the sake of this game, I hope they don't bring a similar game plan because Georgia They're not as effective running the football as Michigan, but they are very good at running the football still. 5.5 yards per carry, but Michigan just has a better rushing offense. They average more yards per game.
The air attack.
Right. But Georgia has Brock Bowers, Darnell Washington, what the receiver's name?
Yeah,
his name.
I know the deep threat guy.
He's solid too. McIntosh,
Yes.
a solid running back. So they got guys. They got guys out all over the field. And, with a 2 tight end set, they'll destroy Ohio State in the middle of the field. It's just, if you overcommit to the run, typically the tight end is right there in the middle of the field open for a big gain. And that's what Georgia's been doing all season long. So there's a chance for that to happen. And if Georgia wants to bring the same game plan into this game that they did against Michigan, go ahead. You're going to get crushed again. So look, I think Ohio State has a chance to stay in this game, actually, though, through their offense. We know Marvin Harrison Jr. special. It's going to be interesting to see him go one-on-one with projected top 10 pick Keely Ringo.
Dog.
He is. He's a beast. But I do expect the Bucs to play with an energy and a moxie of having a second life given to them, because we did not expect Ohio State to be here after they lost to
Shouldn't
Michigan. We said they shouldn't be, but they're here. And when you give a team a second chance, that's dangerous. That's really dangerous. And look, they got embarrassed the last time they played football. I don't think that is going to sit well with them. I don't think they can be embarrassed again. Georgia is a heavy, heavy favorite. 78% per the Action Network is on Georgia, and I expect Georgia to win. But give me the Bucs to cover. Give me the Bucs to cover 6.5. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but do not walk out right now. Oh my God. Justin has walked out of the building. He is done. It is just me now. Let me speak to my audience here. Justin has taken off his blazer. Look, Georgia is a phenomenal football team. They are a phenomenal football team, and I think they're going to win. But that doesn't mean Ohio State can't cover the spread. They can't. They have to have a response after last week. They do after the last game. They need a response, and this is the game to do it. Show up, show out. I don't believe in you at all, but everything is telling me to bet Ohio State here. I don't know what it is. Justin has joined us back in studio. I don't know what it is, but you need to respond after that game against Michigan. And this is the spotlight. This is the opportunity to do so. So Bucs plus 6.5. That is my pick.
That is disgusting. Disgusting to see. Dude, Georgia's 4-0 against the spread this season when favored by 20 points or fewer. And they're 3-0 against the spread against ranked opponents.
I know.
All the favor.
I know.
All the smarts.
I know.
You know they're better.
They are better.
Ohio State scum.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with you 100%. Georgia is the better football team, and I expect them to win. But Ohio State's offense is potent. It's dynamic. And I think that they just have a response in them after what they did against Michigan. I don't think they win, but 6.5, I think this could be a closer game than people think. And that doesn't mean Georgia loses. I just think Ohio State has a shot to be in this game.
I will give you 1% fairness because Ohio State in the college football playoff era as an underdog is straight up 6-2.
There is something to be said about Ohio State as
we
the 4
saw them
seed.
as the 4 seed come in and tear and win the title.
It's scary. Like I know they look bad, and I know Ryan Day and C.J. Stroud. What reason do you have to trust them? I don't have a reason, but everything is in my gut telling me Ohio State, and I don't know why. But I am riding with OHIO.
Your guts are gross.
Look, it's scary, man. It's scary.
Scary hours out here. My 3 factors this week for this game. Ohio State's defense, purely against Georgia. We'll see what happens. I don't know how they're going to handle it after they didn't know what to do against Michigan. I don't know what they're going to do against Georgia. Ohio State's straight up wide receivers versus the DBs, like you talked about, Harrison versus Ringo of Georgia. And then, big key, with no Njigba, no Travion Henderson, who's going to be an unsung playmaker?
Someone's got to step up, right?
Someone has to.
I mean, they have players though.
They do.
They
What's his
have
name?
players.
Ibuka or
Yep,
whatever.
yep.
They have him. They still have Marvin Harrison. They have a good tight end. The line isn't too bad. You still have Stroud. You have a low-key dog as your third string running back. That true freshman, whatever his name is. Number 5. I don't remember what his name is.
I'm forgetting his name too. We talked about him a little bit.
But their second string was leading them in touchdowns all season. He's going to be...
Mine Williams?
Yeah, he'll be the starter.
Yep. He'll be back. He'll be healthy. Look, they've been banged up a lot this year. They have been. And I know everyone was talking about, Michigan had Blake Corum. Look, Ohio State's been without what was perceived to be the best player in college football in Jackson Smith and Jigba. They haven't had him all year. So, cry me a river with the Blake Corum injury. Ohio State hasn't had a lot of their guys either. Not that they'll have them back this week as well, but I give them a shot here. I do. I give them a chance. I don't know why, but it seems like Ohio State, in a spot where no one thinks they can win, has a chance. I don't know. That's just what it feels like to me.
Caesar says no.
Look, I got some extended family, quote unquote, in the Ohio State
Oh,
realm,
goodness.
and I know some of their songs, and I'm not going to sing one
Please don't.
because I don't want to make my audience's eardrums bleed. But I might be chanting it a little bit. I don't know. It depends how much alcohol I have in my system. I want Georgia to win though. But yeah, I do think Ohio State gets it done. Or like just cover the spread, not to win, but 6.5. I feel like that's a lot of points.
We're both expecting a Georgia-Michigan title game. Like most people.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a fair I think that's just how
think
it's
most
going to
people,
go.
Yeah,
But
most people are assuming Georgia-Michigan. Georgia probably wins.
now, what if it's Ohio State, Michigan? That would be crazy.
That would be
That
the
would be
that'd be
crazy.
the most watched college football game ever potentially.
It would be, and who would have to pick in that game?
Yeah, you have the Buckeyes. even if Michigan was favored by 10, but they wouldn't be. I feel like the spread.
think
I
it'd
think the
be-
spread might be like this. How this game is.
If it was Michigan, Ohio State, I think it'd be closer than that.
You think it'd be like 3
Within a field goal, yeah.
or like 2.5
Something like that, yeah. I don't think it would.
because of the championships on the line. So they gotta in Vegas has gotta be
Yeah, it's about balancing the money. Yeah, I think it'd be like within a field goal. Yeah, for sure.
crazy. Anyway, that's the playoffs,
Excited. I'm excited to watch New Year's Eve. Let's go.
and then we'll be back for the championship the following week.
Yes, which I hate is on a Monday. I hate that it's on
I
Monday.
don't
at
get
9.
it. It's like no football's on. I get playoffs haven't started yet. Don't need to put it on Saturday night. Just have no night game on Saturday, like for the NFL.
I know. All the Saturday games are all college football is played on Saturday, basically. Like
Except for like
except
bowl
for the national
games.
championship game. It's on Monday at 9. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Get it on Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. And all you do is, even if you want to have, because they start using up, whether it's regular season or playoffs, they start using Saturdays for the NFL. Just have, if you want games that day, just put like 1 at noon, 1 at 3, right? Or something like that. 1 and 3.
It makes no sense to me at all.
I don't know. You're losing viewers.
But, I don't... The NCAA makes no sense. No one knows what the NCAA is doing, so who cares?
Whatever.
On to the NFL.
Yes, sir.
Big weekend. We are 2 weeks away from playoffs starting, and this is really...
The NFC special.
This is the NFC special, but, in golf, on major tournaments, they call Saturday moving day
Uh-huh.
because most of the time...
Moving in, moving out.
after the cuts have been made, Friday and Saturday is really moving day, but Saturday is really like moving day for me because after the cuts have been made, right, that's when you see who's going to be in contention on Sunday. And that for me, this week is moving day in golf. It's the Saturday of a golf tournament, the day before the final, where you are looking at these teams. This week will determine the final week. And we have some great games to get into, so let's start it off.
A disgusting first game with Mr. Saturday and the Colts in New York against the Giants. It is -5.5 Giants. I'm disgusted by this game. Colts average 16 points a game offensively. 16 points.
It's bad. It's bad.
They put up like triple that against the Vikings and lost.
Well, they sold that game. They sold that
They
game.
definitely did. I mean, their defense allows 23 points a game. Giants put up almost 30 points a game. The defense is about 22, but the defense has been a little rough for the Giants lately. I mean, I'm disgusted on both sides of the ball because we also had faith. Oh, no, wait, we didn't have faith. We picked the Commanders against the Giants, a week or two ago, and the Giants shocked us.
They did. They did. So remember a bit ago when Jeff Saturday got hired, and I was like, we had Colts and Raiders on the schedule, and I was like,
The magic of the pit.
I'm kind of feeling the Colts. Like, I don't know why. I'm just kind of feeling the Colts. I'm low-key feeling the exact same way going into this game. Look, the Colts are terrible. I'm not going to deny that. And they are openly tanking. They are in desperate need of a quarterback and a head coach. But defensively, this team can play. They average 6.5 yards per attempt and 4.1 yards per carry. So that's what they're allowing. That's pretty good. That's pretty good in the NFL. I thought they played well against the Chargers defensively. Offensively, they could not move the football, but still, they held Justin Herbert, no touchdown passes. I thought they kept him in check for most of the game. It was an impressive display defensively, and now you get a Giants offense that is not as effective as the Chargers offense, right? I mean, we would all agree the Chargers offense is better than the Giants offense. Okay, well, now you're getting a much worse Giants offense. Now, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Nick Foles scares me. But guess what? Juicy stat of the day. He is 3-0 in his career against the Giants. Tell me that doesn't play a role in this game. You can't. The Giants also allow 5.4 yards per carry, which is the worst in the NFL. There is a formula for the Colts to win this game. I'm not taking them to win, but the Colts, plus 5.5, I'm all on it. The Giants, also 67% of the public is backing them. I think this is a good spot for Indianapolis to cover and a good spot for Vegas to get some money on this one. So give me the Colts plus 5.5.
Your pick scares me.
I've only bet the Colts, I think, once this season, and it worked.
Because I started with the Colts. Bless you. But my friend, I flipped the script before the beginning of this day. I can't trust Nick Foles for the life of me. Your 3-0 stat? Yeah, what? With the Eagles? Is he 3-0 with the Eagles against them?
Doesn't matter who it's with.
Yeah, it does. The Eagles won a Super Bowl with that, man.
Sam Darnold, in his first career start against the Lions, beat the Lions with the Jets. He comes to Carolina now. He crushed the Lions. Sometimes quarterbacks are just good against teams. Sam Darnold is 2-0 against the Lions, but he's causing nightmares. Like, it's not been close in the games he started. Nick Foles, 3-0 against the Giants. Sometimes quarterbacks have an edge against certain teams. It doesn't make sense. That's why I'm going with it.
The big stat, man. You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm pulling another bad move again, like I did last week.
Please, take the Giants. Take the Giants.
I'm gonna.
Please, take the Giants. I'm telling you right here, right now, this has the feel of that Raiders game when they were
This has a field goal loss for the Colts because the guy still got to lose, but a field goal loss.
Yeah. No, they won that game against the Raiders.
Oh, well, Pitt. You're talking about Pitt and Raiders or Colts and Raiders?
Colts Raiders. When we put that game on the slate, and I was like, I don't know what it is, but give me the Colts plus 4.5. The Colts won that game outright. I'm not saying they do it this week, but 5.5 is a scary spread number. And this is a team with a quarterback that is 3-0 against Big Blue.
And he scored 3 points on Monday night, so don't give me that crap.
They have a week to get it right. So they had a week to get the offense flowing again.
Well, when you're third string behind a rookie and a 40-year-old quarterback, I don't know what to say to you after winning a Super Bowl and getting moved from 3 teams with $70 million of dead money.
Don't matter. It's all about this game. It is all about this game. Colts plus 5.5. You can take the Giants. That's fine. That's fine.
Well, let's get out of this game. Our sad boys host the Bears in game 2. The Lions host the Bears. It is up to -6 now for the Lions. That is stressful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the Lions are coming off
6.
Yeah, I mean, we know. They're massive letdown against the Panthers. We all saw it. Let's just throw it away. let's forget about it. Amnesia, whatever. They come home. They're going to be pissed after such a poor performance. And they get a Bears team that is on a massive losing streak. I believe they've lost 8 in a row. They're allowing 7.5 yards per attempt. And while the Lions do allow 7.7 yards per attempt, the Bears' formula for success is through the ground. And the Lions lately has been through the air. The Lions' run game has been non-existent the past few weeks. But Jared Goff has still looked very good. I know last week was a bit of a blunder with the fumble in the red zone, but I still think Goff looked good enough to compete for parts of the game. Offense was kind of just stagnant for most of the day, though. It doesn't help when he's the leading rusher, let's be honest. However, I think we should see a Lions run defense that bounces back after their horrible performance against Carolina. I think they'll bring the physicality. Bears, the public favorite right now, 55% per the Action Network. Basically a 50-50 split, though. I think the Lions bounce back in a big way. There is something about this team that they're kind of a response. Like when you see them get punched in the face, I think you can bet on the Lions to respond. And I think they do that this week. Look, it sucks that they lost this week, but you have to forget about it. They can win this game by a touchdown or more. So give me the Lions -6. I didn't want to bet them last week. I should not have bet them last week. But this week I feel different. Give me the Lions -6.
Last time we picked this game, it was post. I told you to bet them against the Packers. I said take them against the Packers. We took them, right? And the following week was the Lions in Chicago, and you took the Lions again, and I didn't take the Lions. I took the Bears, and they won by 1 freaking point.
They were underdogs in that game.
Yes,
though.
they were underdogs.
I think they were
in that game.
3-point underdogs.
Yeah,
or
they were
3.5-point underdogs.
Yeah,
So.
it was like 3 or 3.5. I want to pick the Bears. I really want to pick the Bears. I kind of have it scribbled in that I want to pick the Bears, but seeing it now at 6, ugh.
I know, because it was 5.5 earlier in the week, and I was like 5.5 is such a bad number. So I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna take the Bears, aren't I? But 6, it's kind of telling you like, okay, it's creeping back and back. It could get up to 6.5 at game time. You don't know. So yeah, I think 6 is like a good spot to jump in on.
I want to take the Bears, but I can't give up on the Lions now. Can't give up on them. I agree. They're probably gonna. Dan Campbell probably had a talking to him, a wake up call, come back for vengeance. You need these 2 last games. They're back home.
That's big.
Where they're comfortable at Ford Field, and it's still the Bears at the end of the day. I know we had a tough one in Chicago, but it's the Bears. It's not going to be cold. It's not outside in Chicago. It's just, it's home where they love to play, and Jared Goff feels comfortable, and he probably feels a little responsible for last week. Not that he played like trash, but he didn't play good enough to how he's been playing. Right. So I want to pick the Bears with everything in me right now, but I'm going to go with the Lions.
This is a have-to-have-it week, right? I mean, they need this game. And the Bears, they can play spoiler all they want, sure, but look, their season's over. They're kind of in sell mode. Like, I mean, they have a shot for the number 1 pick. If Houston wins one more game, the Bears would slide into number 1 if they don't win another game this year because of the tie. Yeah. So, I mean, that's big because you could have a team like Houston who might want Bryce Young. Someone could now trade up with Chicago to get Bryce Young because they don't need a quarterback. And that's massive, right? So we're going to see how it plays out. But, yeah, this is just, for me, this is a Lions game that they have to have. And I don't think it's going to be funny business. I don't think it's going to come down to like the last game where you needed to sack Justin Fields to ice the game and then run it out. No, I think they come in, take care of business, and prime themselves for a Week 18 at Lambeau Field. So, yeah, I like that we're both on the Lions here. It's tough for me because coming into the week, I did want to pick the Bears too.
I agree.
But now that I'm just kind of letting it play out, have my thoughts and emotions kind of settle down, I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking, okay, yep, let's go Lions here.
The Bears have lost their last 5 straight, dude.
I believe it's I think it's 8 or 9.
I mean, like, I'm just looking at the last 5.
Oh yeah, it's been bad. It's been very bad.
Absolutely disgusting. All right, game 3 of 4. The Brownies head to DC versus the Commanders. Both have been kind of ugly. It's -1.5 Commanders. Not by the Lake Erie.
No, not by the mistake by the lake. We are in DC, which I love DC, by the way. It's awesome.
I do like DC too. It was cool going there.
Absolutely. But here, I got 2 words for you, all right, in this game. Carson Wentz. That is it for me. I cannot sit here and trust Carson Wentz as a favorite in this game. And the last time we saw him play, it was not pretty. He has a losing record as the start of this season. I think this game is an ugly one, defensive, close crapshoot. But Carson Wentz is the reason why I'm picking the Browns, honestly. I mean, they don't play for Carson Wentz. They played for Heineke. Heineke had a couple, turnovers in the red zone, and before you know it, he's benched. Look, they played a tough game against New York and against the best defense in the NFL in San Francisco. I'm sorry he struggled a little bit. But do you think Carson Wentz is going to do any better? No. Carson Wentz has been trashed this season. He's a statue in the pocket. Heineke can move a little bit. There's a reason why the Commanders were awful with Wentz. There's a reason why they weren't winning games. They won games when Heineke was in. Their turnaround started when Taylor Heineke took over the starting job. Now you take that away from Heineke. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't like the Browns at all, but it is impossible for me to be like, yeah, Carson Wentz is going to bring home a win for the Commanders. So I'm on Browns +1.5 here. It's all about Carson Wentz for me. I can't do it. So Browns +1.5.
The Browns have been so sketchy lately with Deshaun back. I feel like he really hasn't found a groove at all. I mean, you have some weapons around you. I mean, you definitely have dogs in the backfield that can help you, but I mean, like how you're talking about the game, it's normally on the quarterback. The game, you're worried about Carson Wentz at the head of the Commanders offense. I'm still worried about Deshaun at the head of the Browns offense.
It's fair. It's a fair point.
I don't know what to expect with him. I think he still needs. I think it'll be maybe a little different next year when he has a full off season with the team. Obviously, he kind of did, but not entirely. But I mean, he was also suspended, for 11 games. Ironically, specifically 11 games. But I don't know. I like the Browns mostly because of Nick Chubb, but I think it's a tight one for sure. I think it could definitely go either way. I think it's like a field goal game win for the Commanders, but I'm thinking it's like 2017. Like I don't think this game goes over 30 something points.
I think it's like 17-16 Browns. I do. I think the Browns win this one because it's Carson Wentz.
It's Carson.
I can't trust him. The team was horrible with him at quarterback. Like they weren't winning games, and I get they get Chase Young back, and look, their defense has been playing well all season long, but that's just not enough for me to be like, okay, yeah, Commanders, let's go. So it's not a bad pick by you. I'm just not. It's not. It's a fair pick by you. And 1.5. I mean, you're basically looking at a pick'em game here. So it's like, all right, what do we got going on? But look, at the end of the day, I just think the Browns, for all the crap that they've gone through and for all the heat Deshaun Watson has deserved, I think sometimes you find a way to win games at the end of the year. This is one of those games. So
fair enough. I got nothing more to say. This is probably my least favorite game.
It's an ugly one. I like my ugly games. That's why I throw them on there.
I know. I love when you pick these games,
especially when it's like a pick'em. Because it's like a pick'em game.
It is.
So it's like, all right, who do you think is actually going to win this game? I think the Browns can get it done. I'm not just saying that because it helps the Lions. Like, if Taylor Heineke was starting, I would feel much differently about this game. But because it's Carson Wentz, I have to go with the Browns. Carson Wentz has been horrible.
He's kind of fighting for his job. He's not his job. Obviously, he's been fighting for his job, but he's kind of fighting for a job in the NFL. You could argue right now, slightly.
You're not wrong, but it's just like every locker room he's in, the guys don't play for him, and the people in the NFL and the media circles, it's been reported. It's like Heineke comes in, and this team has a different energy and a different vibe, and it's like, okay, they're playing for this guy, and it's a lot like the QB situation in our next game too. It's just hard to trust Carson Wentz. It's just really hard for me to trust Carson Wentz. So it's not a bad pick by you. It's just a personal gut feeling. They might win this game, but I'm going with the Browns.
It is what it is. All these gut feelings.
Sometimes it's gut. Sometimes it's
glory.
So, yeah, basically.
All right, on to the last one. The final game for Jets in Seattle. Surprisingly, the Seahawks at home against the Jets are +1.5.
It's an odd spread. It's an odd
I was
spread.
shocked when I saw it. I was like, am I reading this correctly? But I don't know. The Jets have been kind of meh. But so have the Seahawks. It's like they both were like teams that are like, oh, like the Giants as well. Oh my gosh, they're playing really well, but they got to fall off at some point, and
Right.
they have been falling.
Right. So, look, I got 2 words for you. Mike White. Just like Carson Wentz, 2 words. This is a new 2 words. Mike White. Look, Mike White back at QB for the Jets. Missed the last 2 games with a rib injury suffered against the Bills. This team plays so much better with him at quarterback. You had 31 points against the Bears. Big win over them. They should have beat the Vikings on the road. And then he played through fractured ribs on the road against the Bills in horrible conditions. I think the Jets get off the mat, take advantage of a Seattle defense that's allowing 25 points per game, 7 yards per
crazy.
attempt, 5 yards per carry. It's bad. The Seahawks defense is really bad.
They average the same on points on offense, so it's like a cancel.
It's so bad. And look, Geno Smith and the Seahawks team just feels like they're out of gas, right? It just feels like it was a nice story. You played well, but now it just feels like the wheels are kind of falling off the wagon. I think this plays right into the Jets' advantage. Plus, the Jets also have a rest advantage, too. They had the game on Thursday night. Now they have a little bit more of a rest. I think that is absolutely big, especially when an East Coast team is going to the Pacific Northwest. I think that helps them having a little bit more rest, a little bit more time to recover. Mike White coming into Seattle. I think he gets it done. And this Jets defense, shout out to them. They play so hard for Robert Saleh. It should cause issues for the Jets or for the Seahawks offense. And look, if you like trends, Seattle is 3-4 against the spread at home. The Jets are 5-2 against the spread on the road. So, with all that being said, Jets, Jets, Jets -1.5.
Both teams are disgustingly 1-4 in their last 5.
It's like they haven't been playing good football. They haven't.
The Jets lost 19-3 to the Jags, which is disgusting. Surprisingly, the Seahawks only lost 24-10 against Kansas City, which was kind of shocking. They didn't play great, but they didn't play terrible. I don't want to pick this game. Because Mike White is back, but he's still a little banged up. I agree the defense is way better than the defense is probably the Jets defense is probably the biggest factor here. I mean, Sauce is just carrying that squad, and it still hurts not seeing Kenneth Walker out there for Seattle. That's such a pain because after having Rashad Penny go out early in the season,
Yep.
and K9 was just taken off. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. But it is in Seattle. I don't care about your stats. I'm taking the Seahawks, even though they're tough at home against the spread. I'm taking the Seahawks. Taking the Seahawks. Another game like the one before. You said it's a pick 'em, but also another crap field goal game. And that's what I'm looking at. I think this, even though I would I would win in that stance. I think this could be your 17-16 game. More so than the Commanders, Browns.
All right. I mean, we'll see, man. I think this game has probably more offense than you might be willing to admit, but I do think it is kind of like it is a pick 'em basically at 1.5, but I do think like this
Mike
game
White's the
leans more. Yeah, if it was, I'm telling you, it's just like Heineke and Wentz. If this was Zach Wilson or Flacco, I'm going to Seattle. But this is Mike White. Like the team plays for Mike White. They do. They play differently for him, and he should be healthy. He's had several weeks off now, a little bit more time in between the last game and this one too. So he's had a lot of time to get right, and I think that's big. I do. I don't know what it is about Mike White. He's not that great, but you know what? He's good enough for them to be competitive in games, and that just, I think, is the difference for me.
I respect it. I respect it. I mean, this game will be decided on how well Mike White plays entirely.
Right.
That's the whole game. It doesn't matter how Seattle's everywhere because they're just chaos. We know the Jets' defense. It is solely on how well Mike White plays.
Right.
For the Jets.
I mean, Chris Streveler got in the game for the Jets last week against the Jags. Chris Streveler.
Who?
Exactly. And look, this team just does not listen to Zach Wilson. He does not have command of the huddle. Mike White does. And that is all they really need. They just need a guy that can come in and command the offense. And say what you want about Mike White. Say what you want about his talent. He's got that going for him. He has the command of the team. That's why I'm going with him. Geno Smith, same deal. I mean, he's got the command of Seattle, but it just feels like their defense can't sustain it for much longer. And that offense is just kind of falling by the wayside, too. Like, with the defense is slowly coming the offense. So, Seattle, good story, but I think the Jets get them this game. And the Jets are still in the thick of things for the playoffs. They are. They're 7-8, just like Seattle. They have a shot to get the wild card with Miami and New England and Pittsburgh all kind of meshed together. The Jets are right in the thick of things. So this is a must-win game for both teams, and I like what I'm seeing from the Jets a little bit more defensively. And with Mike White coming back, I think this is a Jets spot.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We're against each other on everything but the Lions.
Yes, and Michigan. So let's run it down. Michigan versus TCU. College football semifinal, game 1, 4 o'clock. We are both on the Wolverines at -7.5. No surprises there. In the nightcap, Georgia versus Ohio State. A shocker because I am a big Georgia guy when it comes to picking these games. But look, I believe
picking them to win, but not
picking them to
cover.
win. But I'm thinking Ohio State covers at 6.5. Justin is on the Dogs -6.5. To the NFL for our NFC playoff special. Minus the Packers, because we don't want to talk about those cheeseheads.
Them versus the Vikings.
No, that's a really... I kind of want to put it on the schedule, but that's a tough game.
I thought you were gonna.
See, the thing is...
It's okay.
I'm just going to let the fan in me make that pick.
Go ahead.
All right, so Colts at Giants. Giants -5.5. Justin is on the Giants. I'm on the Colts. We'll
That's
see
for
how
you,
that one.
Kev. That's for
crazy
you, big
game.
dog.
Bears at Lions. We are both on Detroit -6. We will see.
Surprisingly.
We will see. We will see. Browns at Commanders in this ugly game. I'm on the Browns +1.5, and Justin is on the Commanders -1.5. And then in our final showcase, Jets at Seahawks. I'm on the Jets -1.5. Justin is on the Seahawks +1.5 at home. And those are our picks. We got 6 games for you. The college football playoffs are underway.
Woo!
And the NFC playoff special minus the Packers because
I could have beeped that out for you.
I want to say it so bad. Gonna contain myself. I'm gonna control myself.
It's a chaos week. It's chaos picks. It's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Lots of fun, lots of football. And this is the last episode of the year, but we'll be coming back stronger in 2023.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Now, before we close it out, there was a bet made weeks ago during rivalry week. If you watch back, Evan made a bet against a fan, we could say, that if Michigan made it to the playoffs, he would get a pie in the face. Now, folks, unfortunately, we were planning to have that fan be here today to pie him in the face. But things happen. Supposedly. So, I, on behalf of the fan, will be taking over their duty to pie this man in the face. It is going to be live here in just a moment. Not really, but it's part of the episode. But I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I will. Evan, what do you have to say before this moment?
Go green. That's all I have to say. Go green.
Wow. A playoff push makes a pie in the face.
Look, Michigan fans would not do this for their school. I'm going to put my face on the line for Michigan State University because I love it so much. I'm a proud Spartan fan. I'm unapologetic about it. Michigan fans wouldn't do the same for their school because they are afraid. They are afraid of putting their face on the line with a pie thrown in it. I'm not, because I bleed green and white. I'm just saying. This is what Spartan dogs do for their school. We're a bit crazier. We're a bit more loyal. Slip my wrist, green and white coming out. Michigan fans, I would love to see a Michigan fan get pied in the face. I would love to.
Maybe the fan will have to come back and we'll reverse the rule.
I would love to, but they're not going to put their face on the line like I will. So that's all I'm saying.
So.
Go green.
I don't think
Go
so.
green, baby.
All right. That is it. End of the year. Happy New Year to you all. And I hope you enjoy this clip to close it out. So now, here we go, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year from Squeeze the Juice. Once again, enjoy this weekend. Enjoy the college football playoff. Enjoy the NFL Sunday slate. And as always, squeeze it, love it, live it, and go green. Go green, baby.
And now, enjoy the pie. Boom!
Hang on.
Here we go.
Are we doing it?
We are. Ready?
So, hey guys, this is my punishment. We got a pie. It's coming at my face. I didn't think Michigan would do it, but they're in the playoff. So now it's time for a pie in the face. Here we go.
This is for everyone. It's stuck.
Oh,
Dude, your mouth is perfect.
I can't see. That's it from Squeeze the Juice. I can't see. I don't even know if the video's on.